What time is it? And to eat dragon meat for your Chaldea Lunchtime. I'll show you how to cook the legendary dragon steak from the manga Today's Menu for the Emiya Family by Ta. It was the most ambitious recipe to make to date that you too can enjoy making and eating too that will leave you wanting more niao. This recipe will be for 4 servings. First, wash 1 large potato or 2 medium-sized potatoes for fried potatoes. Cut the potato into wedges. You should get 16 wedges. Soak the wedges in water for a minimum of 30 minutes. Soaking the wedges helps to remove excess starch, which results in crispier potatoes when cooked. Next, you'll tornade 2/3 long carrot for glazed carrots. First, you'll cut the carrot roughly into 4 2-inch pieces. Next, you'll tornade the carrot. Normally to tornade, you'll need a tornade knife, aka bird's beak knife, to do this French technique of cutting vegetables into a 7-sided oblong shape. It's considered an advanced level technique, which I find dangerous due to how close your fingers are to a sharp blade, so I'll teach you a safer technique using a vegetable peeler. After you wash the carrot, peel off the outer layer and give it 7 flat sides. Starting from the center of each side, lightly press down the vegetable peeler and peel the carrot toward you with more force applied the closer you get to the end to give the carrot a sloped edge. With the 7 sides as a guide, you're ready to make it into an oblong shape. With that side done, you flip the carrot around and repeat the same for that one side. Repeat this for the remaining sides and you have successfully tornaded a carrot. Be proud of yourself. While a vegetable peeler is safer than a knife, it is still a sharp tool, so please be careful with it as well. I find the original recipe is a little confusing as the most carrot pieces I can get from a pretty long carrot is 4 pieces, which means 1 piece of carrot per serving. If you're making 4 servings, I recommend using 2 carrots so everyone can have 2 carrot pieces on their plate. So you'll basically need to double the ingredients of the original recipe for glazed carrots. I'll be continuing with how it was originally written in the manga. After you're done doing the tornade to the carrots, put the carrots in a cooking pot. Fill the pot with just enough water to submerge the carrots. When you're done, take the carrots out of the pot, then put the pot on the stovetop to boil the water. Once the water has boiled, you'll add the carrots back into the pot. Turn the heat down to medium after you add the carrots in the pot. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar. Add 10 grams of butter. Add 1 pinch of salt. Stir everything together, then leave it alone to stew uncovered. When you leave it alone to stew, the water will evaporate, which you'll let happen until there is no water left in the pot. Once the water has evaporated, turn off the stovetop. What you'll be left with is soft, sweet, and tasty glazed carrots. What a beautiful shine the carrots now have. Put the glazed carrots on the side for later. Next, you'll saute asparagus, which you can do while you're stewing the carrots. In a pan large enough to hold whole asparagus, boil water in it. Submerge 4 asparagus spears in the boiled water. You'll leave it to cook for a few minutes in the water, enough to keep it still firm but tender. Cut the now cooked asparagus into thirds. Put a pan on the stovetop, then add 10 grams of butter in the pan. Turn the heat on to medium, then melt the butter. Once the butter has melted and the pan is hot enough, add the asparagus to the pan. Saute the asparagus for a few minutes until the asparagus has slightly browned all over. After you're done sauteing, turn off the stovetop. Add a pinch of salt and black pepper to the asparagus. Mix everything together, then put the asparagus on the side for later. After the potatoes have finished soaking in water, it's time to make them into fried potatoes. Put a pan on the stovetop, then spread 1 tablespoon of oil in the pan. Drain the water from the potatoes, then add them into the pan. Turn the heat on to medium. Pan fry both sides of the potato until they're brown and crispy. If you liked watching this video so far, please subscribe and enjoy more like it soon. Thank you! Every new subscriber makes us happy to see. When both sides are browned and crispy, turn off the heat. Add a pinch of salt to the potatoes. Mix everything together, then put them on the side for later. You will now prep for the Western style onion sauce. The first step for the sauce is to cut a small onion into slivers. After you're done, put the onions on the side for later when we finish making the sauce after cooking the steak to use its drippings. Next is the Japanese style wasabi soy sauce. Add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce into a cooking pot. Add 2 tablespoons of mirin. Add 2 tablespoons of cooking sake. Add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Mix everything together. Put the pot on the stovetop, then turn the heat on to high to boil the sauce. Once the sauce is boiling, turn off the heat, then quickly add 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of wasabi. Mix everything together. If you don't want the heat of the wasabi but like the nice aroma it gives off, add the wasabi after the sauce boils and keep the stovetop heat on briefly before turning it off. The wasabi I used is the fake wasabi you find in most sushi restaurants, which is composed of mostly horseradish. It does the job, so you don't need to buy the actual expensive wasabi root. Though if you're using lots of real money on fake brand order gacha to get your favorite character, you could probably afford to buy a wasabi root to enhance this sauce. Hehe. Now for the all-important power-giving dragon steak. For 4 servings, you'll need 800 to 1200 grams of steak, which is 200 to 300 grams per person. You'll find the steak around the base of the neck of the dragon where the throat is to be the best part. If your steak has been refrigerated and not freshly cut and bled out of a dragon, take it out of the fridge, then let it get to room temperature for an hour. After it's adjusted to room temperature, pat the steak dry with a paper towel on both sides. By patting the steak dry, when cooked, it'll prevent it from cooking unevenly, get a deep brown color, have a flavorful crust, and keeps all that tasty natural flavors inside the meat. If you can't get dragon meat, you can substitute it with sirloin, ribeye, beef fillet, or round tip. I can't get dragon meat, so I went with sirloin, which was on sale for a great price. If you can't get dragon meat, go for it. After you're done pat drying the steak, put a pan on the stovetop, then turn the heat on to medium. Add 15 to 20 grams of dragon tallow to the pan. If you can't get dragon meat, then it's likely you can't get dragon tallow as well, so you can substitute it with beef tallow. Melt the tallow in the pan. After the tallow has melted, turn the heat up to medium-high. Add the steak into the pan when the pan is hot. After you add the steak in the pan, you'll quickly cover it to prevent oil from splashing. As I'm demonstrating the cooking, I left the cover off and made an oily mess of my cooking area, which I cleaned up after. If you're going for a rare steak, like in the manga, cook each side for 1 to 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes for medium, and 3 minutes for well done. Make sure to cook both sides of the steak. Now that's a nice crust on the steak. When both sides are done cooking, turn off the stovetop, then put the steak on a large piece of aluminum foil. Wrap the foil around the steak, then leave it to rest for 3 minutes. When the 3 minutes are almost up, put the same pan used to cook the steak back on the stovetop, then turn the heat on to high. Again, cover the pan to prevent oil from splashing everywhere. Once the pan is very hot, add the steak back into the pan to sear for 30 to 60 seconds. I went with 30 seconds. After you're done searing the steak, turn off the heat. Season both sides of the steak with salt and black pepper. To be safe and prevent oil from splashing, remove the pan off the stovetop, then let the pan cool a bit before removing the cover to season the steak. Put the steak on a dining plate, then arrange the cooked garnishes from earlier on it too. With the steak drippings in the pan, it's time to continue making the Western style onion sauce. Put the pan on the stovetop, then add the onion slivers. If you need to, add oil into the pan to saute the onions with the drippings. As I had lots of tallow left over in the pan, I don't need to add oil. Turn the heat on to medium, then saute the onions until they're soft and caramelized. After you're done sauteing the onions, add 5 tablespoons of water. Add 2 tablespoons of cooking sake. Add 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Add 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Add 150 grams of demi-glaze sauce. Turn the heat up to high to boil the sauce. Mix everything together. Oh, before I forget, add a pinch of black pepper. When the sauce is boiling, turn off the heat. After the sauce has cooled, add 10 grams of unsalted butter to give a flavorful richness to the sauce and a nice glossy look too, which has a French term to it, monter beurre. Mix the butter into the sauce. You can add salt to taste here too, but I chose not to as it was quite flavorful already. Phew, what an ambitious recipe that was. Let's taste the fruits of the labor put into this Chaldea Lunchtime mash made for her senpai. Since I was busy recording this video, it looks like the rare steak I made turned into a medium rare steak as I had more time to rest, which is how I normally have my steak done, so I don't mind. I did make this steak again later without doing a video recording and can confirm the steak was rare after I cut into it. Itadakimasu. Delicious. The steak is cooked to my liking, has a nice crust for mouthfeel, and is well seasoned. I never tried the aluminum foil wrapping method before, but the steak came out really nice, so I'll do it again in the future. It has a nice aroma of, well, meat. This is certainly why it draws in the characters of Chaldea to the dining area. I can see, smell, feel, and taste why Saber Alter and Jaguar Man want seconds of the steak. By the way, if you do try dragon meat, please let us know in the comments if it does taste like chicken like it says in the manga. Let's try the sauce by themselves first before eating it with the steak. First, the Western style onion sauce. Sweeter than I expected, but that's due to the demi-glaze sauce. Not like I mind it, but if you want a saltier sauce, add less demi-glaze sauce and add that pinch of salt I skipped adding earlier. The sauce is rich in flavor from the mix of steak drippings, demi-glaze sauce, and butter. As the sauce is quite thick and packs flavor too, if you want it thinner you can add more water. Next is the Japanese style wasabi soy sauce. You can smell the nice fragrance of wasabi when the sauce gets closer to your nose. The sauce is salty, as much of it is soy sauce. It has a nice body of flavor from the combination of ingredients that is finished off with the spiciness from the wasabi. I'll try the steak with the wasabi sauce first. It adds another layer of savory saltiness with the juices of the steak mixing together with the flavors of the sauce. While the wasabi sauce flavor is still there, it's very faint compared to when I tasted the sauce by itself. So if you want more wasabi flavor in the sauce, add more wasabi to it. Now I'll try the steak with the Western style onion sauce. The steak sauce does go well with the steak in terms of giving a pleasant mouthfeel. The sauce does override the natural flavors of the steak, but as I like the flavor of the sauce, it's not a problem. As I said earlier, the sauce can be watered down a bit if the flavor is too strong for you. It's good to alternate between the flavors, natural flavor of the steak, salty from the wasabi sauce, and sweet from the onion sauce, so you don't get bored from eating the steak. The flavors play on each other to make it so you have a pleasant and enjoyable dining experience. Now I'll try the garnishes, starting with the fried potatoes. Crispy, cooked through the middle so it gives some bite and not too salty. It'll give you a different mouthfeel due to the firmness of it and the crispy outside compared to everything else which is softer. I prefer the elf fries I made before in another video I uploaded with a fluffy inside and crispy outside. The glazed carrots next. I love the shine it gives off. Wow, super soft. I don't even have to chew on it to break it down. I could do it with my tongue and the roof of my mouth. The flavor is sweet from the natural sugar of the carrot, added sugar, and slightly rich from the butter. I should have made more of it earlier. Last garnish to try is a sauteed asparagus. It has a nice color to it. Chewy, but not too chewy. Has a nice coat of fat on it from the butter and it's nicely seasoned. It's okay, not great, but okay. Overall, this was a tasty Chaldea lunchtime, which would have been made even better if Mash had made it for me, hehe. It was an ambitious recipe I've been wanting to try, mostly due to the amount of time it takes to record prepping the ingredients and to cook 6 separate parts of the meal. You can drastically cut the time down by first taking out the steak to get to room temperature for an hour, prep the potatoes to soak for at least 30 minutes while you wait, which you can spend waiting by doing the tournée for the carrots and stew them. If you have 2 or even 3 burners on your stovetop, you can cook multiple parts at once, like one burner cooks the asparagus, another fries the potatoes, and the third will stew the carrots. The carrots will stew by themselves, so you only need to watch the water level. For the asparagus, you can simply lift the pan and shake it so you can roll it in the pan to cook. The potatoes do need a little more attention as you need to flip each potato to brown on both sides, but after flipping them once, you just need to make sure the side now facing the pan doesn't burn. Would I make it again? Yes, I would. It's a tasty, filling, and finer dining experience which I enjoyed. The only part I would change is to not tournée the carrots. While it looks nice on the plate, it took up way too much time to tournée. Pretty though. It would take less time to do if I used a tournée knife, but adding the higher chance of slicing a finger is not in my plans. I hope you get to enjoy making it and eating it too. What other foods from today's menu for the Emiya family would you want us to make? Let us know in the comments. We already made some of the food from the Fate universe, which you can also enjoy watching on our channel. This dragon steak recipe is for 4 servings. For the steak, you'll need 800 to 1200 grams of dragon meat, which you can substitute with beef filet, ribeye, sirloin, or round tip. 15 to 20 grams of dragon tallow, which can be substituted with beef tallow. You'll add salt and black pepper to taste. For the glazed carrots, you'll need 2/3 a carrot, though I recommend 2/3 of 2 carrots so everyone has 2 carrot pieces to eat. 10 grams of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and a pinch of salt. For the fried potatoes, you'll need 1 large potato or 2 medium-sized potatoes, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and a pinch of salt. For the sauteed asparagus, you'll need 4 asparagus spears, 10 grams of unsalted butter, and a pinch of salt and black pepper. For the Japanese-style wasabi soy sauce, you'll need 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of cooking sake, and 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of wasabi, though if you like the flavor of wasabi, you can add a little more. For the Western-style onion sauce, you'll need 1 small onion, 150 grams of demi-glace sauce, 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of cooking sake, 5 tablespoons of water. Unless you want a thinner sauce, then add more water to your liking. A pinch of black pepper, 10 grams of unsalted butter, salt to taste, steak pan drippings, and oil as needed. I'll have links in the video description for you to buy the ingredients you'll need to make and enjoy this recipe too. Support the mangaka by buying the manga, which I'll link to in the description, in English and Japanese. You can also show your support by following the mangaka on Twitter. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Until next time, see ya!